Welcome back to the channel. We are finishing up the sliding door track repair and moving on to working in the cargo floor area. I'd like to thank all my new subscribers for joining us and becoming a part of the Vangabonders club. Is it a club? And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing, as there are new episodes every Wednesday and Sunday, and you can be a part of the club. I've had a few people ask me what I do with the inside of the panels before I weld them on, and the answer is yes, I coat them. And as for the underside, anything where there's metal being sandwiched, I use zinc weld through primer. As you can see, I'm applying it here with perfect technique. And anywhere where I'm having two pieces of metal that are going to sandwich together, I typically use zinc primer. And then anywhere behind where I'm not going to be able to access once it's welded in, I typically use some kind of paint that'll seal it, whether it's POR 15 or just any kind of enamel paint. Sometimes I'll use epoxy primer. And finally, I have gotten the middle rocker completely welded in. I made sure that as I was welding it in, I installed the sliding door, checked my fitment, made sure the outer rocker fit correctly because I wanted everything to be perfectly straight. Things tend to move and shift as you weld them, so it's good to do a few tacks, put your sliding door back in, make sure everything lines up, and then continue tacking. I went ahead and painted the underside of the sliding door track, as I would no longer be able to access that once the rocker was welded on. I masked off the bottom lip, as that is where the outer rocker welds onto, and then I went ahead and drilled all my spot welds in the outer rocker. And as you can see here, I used my finger sander to kind of deburr the holes so that it sits flush. Of course, gave it the good old weld through primer treatment, and then it was time to get it welded in place. If you remember from a few episodes ago, we drilled out many a spot welds to be able to get that upper sliding door track off, and well, now it's time to get it all filled up. Now, to ensure that I didn't burn through the upper track, I went through and kind of tacked everything in place and then went back through and filled it in, making sure to make it hot enough to fuse the metal, but not too hot to melt through the upper track, as it's not very thick and there's a lot of weld to fill in. But after grinding it down, things were looking pretty smooth, pretty good, and I was quite happy with how it came out. And now that everything is welded, it was time to install the door and give it that final test to see if it worked out. And we look at that. It worked out. Moving on to what once was my rusty, crusty cargo floor corner area where the water used to come in and wet my clothes in my storage area, we finally get into something that I've been quite excited about, and that is welding in these nice high quality pieces of replacement metal. Now, before you guys ask me where I got it from, it's from Alan Schofield, or rather Schofield, as someone corrected me in the comments once. Alan Schofield. Well, the point is they make good metal, and I wish I lived in the UK because shipping it to the US is quite expensive. But as you can see, I'm using my usual technique of relatively fitting things into place, cutting them too big, putting them back, marking them, taking them out, marking it, cutting it, and so on and so forth until I get that perfect, crisp, delicious fit that I'm looking for. And well, after a bit of welding, and maybe a little bit more grinding than most people would need to do, it came out perfect, and I'm quite happy with the fit. It is a quality part, and I'm becoming a quality welder compared to what I used to be. At this point, it was time to move on to that center part between the two wheel wells, but unfortunately my camera did die, so I didn't get the awesome time-lapse footage of me cutting it out. But as you can see, now I have plenty of space here to treat the upper side of the frame that I wouldn't be able to access otherwise, get everything rust coated, and we still do have to do the passenger side wheel well fix like we did on the other side, but we're running out of time for this episode as it is already Sunday as I'm finishing up this work, and it's time to upload another video. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the epic content. Leave a like, a comment, I'll read them all. Don't forget that we have these awesome stickers for sale. This is the last of this batch that doesn't have Mallory's face on it. And if you are interested in a custom wood burning, send us an email at vangabonders@gmail.com, and I'll see you in the next one.